Good evening, everyone. Uh, there is someone losing the battle right now, in this very moment, while you are reading these words, while your life is moving through its ordinary rhythms. Someone somewhere in the geography of your world is fighting something they cannot win. Not a fight with circumstance, not a fight with another person, a fight with themselves, with the feeling they did not ask for, with the pull they cannot explain away, no matter how many reasonable, logical, this makes no sense arguments they bring to it. And the fight day by day in the private and unwitnessed space of someone who has been trying very hard to feel differently is losing its momentum. Take what belongs to you today. Take what lands somewhere real and let the rest find whoever it was meant for. Because what came through for this collective carries a specificity that will announce itself immediately to the right people. You will know. The first thing, the thing that arrived before anything else when I opened into this energy was the image of a wall. Not a wall built out of indifference, not a wall built from lack of feeling, the most expensive kind of wall, the kind that is built out of too much feeling, out of the specific and complicated decision that what is felt must be contained, because allowing it to be what it is would require a courage that the circumstances, the age gap, the timing, the gap between what feels true and what feels allowed make feel impossible. They built a wall, and the wall is cracking. Soft sigh. Let me speak about the age dimension of this reading because it is the specific and defining element that shapes everything else, and I want to address it directly rather than dancing around it. Because this is where the struggle lives. This is where the fight is being fought. Not in the feeling itself, the feeling is clear, has always been clear, arrived with a certainty that required no deliberation. The struggle is in what to do with the feeling given the context it arrived in. This person looked at you, and something happened that they were not expecting, something that did not consult the age difference before it arrived, did not pause to check whether the gap between your years made the feeling appropriate or manageable or something that could be easily categorized and therefore easily released. It simply arrived with the full force and the full specificity of something real, and the arrival produced, immediately and simultaneously, both the feeling and the problem of the feeling. Because here is what is happening inside this person, and I want to say it in their voice because it needs to reach you in the form that is closest to how it actually lives in them. I did not plan this. I want you to understand that I did not plan this and I did not choose it. And if I could have redirected it, I genuinely believe I would have tried. Because what I feel for you is inconvenient in a way that I was not prepared for. It does not fit the story I had for my life. It does not fit what I thought I was looking for or who I thought I was capable of being moved by. And it certainly does not fit the difference in our years in the simple, comfortable way that would make it easy to explain to myself or to anyone else. And yet, Here it is, unchanged by the time I have spent trying to change it, undiminished by the distance I have tried to put between us, unmoved by every reasonable argument I have made to myself about why this is not the right thing to feel or the right person to feel it for. It simply persists with the specific stubbornness of something that did not arrive through reasoning and therefore cannot be resolved through reasoning. Uh, I keep staying away and I keep failing at it. Every time I think I have created enough distance, enough time, enough space, enough of the deliberate not engaging that should by now have produced some loosening of what I feel I encounter something, a thought, a memory, something small and unremarkable that carries your frequency and sends everything I had carefully organized back into the disorder it was in before I started organizing. And I have to begin again. The distance, the staying away, the fighting of something that does not fight back, that simply waits with infinite patience for the next time the defenses drop. Oh, the weight of that. Do you feel it? Because that is the specific quality of what is living in this person right now. Not indifference, not the casual interest of someone who finds you appealing in the ordinary sense. The consuming daily, I have tried to put this down and I cannot quality of something that has rooted too deeply to be removed by will alone. Now, let me speak to what the age gap has been doing to them because it deserves to be spoken about honestly. The age difference has been functioning in their interior world as the primary argument against the feeling, the thing they return to when they need a reason to maintain the distance, the socially legible explanation for why what they feel should not be acted on, an explanation that has the advantage of sounding reasonable even when everything it is being used to suppress is anything but. Soft sigh. But here's the truth that the age argument cannot finally defeat, and this is the truth that Spirit is bringing through most insistently for this collective today. What is felt between two people who are both adults, who have both arrived at the fullness of who they are, who both carry the specific and irreplaceable qualities that called forth the recognition in the other, that feeling does not become less real because the years between them are more than convention typically accommodates. The realness is independent of the arithmetic, always has been. And the person fighting the feeling knows this at the level below argument, at the place where the honest reckoning happens before the reasonable arguments are assembled. They know it, which is precisely why the fighting is failing. Because you cannot argue successfully against something you know is true. You can only delay the moment of surrender. The delay is ending. That is what I feel in the energy of this collective with a clarity I cannot set aside. The specific accumulating exhaustion of someone who has been fighting longer than the fight was ever going to be sustainable and who is approaching the place where the energy required to maintain the wall simply exceeds what is available, where staying away costs more than the thing they have been staying away from, where the arithmetic of the age gap, however real, cannot compete with the arithmetic of what this connection produces and what its absence produces in their daily experience of being alive. Something is shifting toward you in the quality of their resistance, which is softening at its edges in ways that resistance only softens when the thing being resisted is true, in the frequency of the thoughts that find their way back to you, regardless of the direction they were pointed, in the specific and increasing difficulty of the staying away that was supposed to get easier with time and has instead gotten harder, more deliberate, more costly, more clearly a choice they are actively making, rather than something that happens naturally because the feeling has faded. The feeling has not faded. It has not faded at all. Ooh, now I want to speak to you, to the part of you that has been on the receiving end of this struggle without always having visibility into what the struggle actually was. Because the experience of being on this side of it, of feeling something real toward another person and receiving in return what has perhaps looked like ambivalence, like distance, like the managed warmth of someone who is being careful that experience has its own cost. It produces questions about whether what you felt was mutual, about whether the connection that seemed so palpable in certain moments was real or imagined, about whether the age difference you are aware of is functioning on their side as a permanent obstacle rather than a temporary complication, about whether what you are holding space for is something that will eventually resolve into something real or something that will simply continue to be what it has been, present, charged, never quite arriving at the honesty it seems to be moving toward. Spirit is answering those questions today. Clearly, without the softening that sometimes makes answers feel safer but also less true, the connection was mutual, is mutual. The age difference is functioning as a complication, not an obstacle. A complication that has been producing the struggle, that has been powering the wall, that has been giving the staying away its justification, but not an obstacle, not something that has the power to ultimately prevent what is real from finding its expression, because real things, in the end, find their expression regardless of the complications assembled against them. They fell for you, despite everything that told them not to, despite the gap in years that convention says should have made the falling impossible or at least improbable, despite the internal arguments and the reasonable objections and the sustained effort to redirect what could not be redirected, they fell completely in the specific and total way of someone who did not choose the fall and cannot choose the landing and is discovering day by exhausting day of trying to stay away that the ground they landed on when they fell is where they actually want to be. Soft sigh, and the struggling to stay away the daily, costly, increasingly failing attempt to maintain a distance that the feeling does not support is itself the evidence of the depth of what is there. Because people do not struggle to stay away from things that did not matter. The struggle is proportionate to the pull, and the pull, the specific quality of what this person feels when they allow themselves to feel it without immediately reaching for the argument against it, is considerable. You produced that simply by being who you are, not by strategy or performance or the deliberate cultivation of an impression, by the specific and entirely unteachable quality of your actual presence, which reached something in them that the age gap, the reasonable objections, and the sustained effort to stay away have not been able to reach and remove. What do you do with this? That is perhaps the question that matters most from here. Not what are they feeling, not when will they stop fighting it, not what does this mean for what is possible between you, but what do you do right now with the knowledge that someone fell for you despite everything that told them not to and is struggling genuinely, daily, expensively struggling to stay away? The answer that Spirit is bringing through is not dramatic, not a call to action, not a strategy for closing the gap or accelerating the resolution of the struggle. Simply be what you are. The thing they fell for was not a performance, was not a carefully curated version of yourself designed to produce a specific response. It was the actual you with the specific depth and the specific warmth and the specific quality of presence that reached past the age gap and the reasonable objections and landed somewhere in them that could not be relocated. Continue being that without the anxiety of someone waiting for the struggle to resolve, without the performance of someone trying to tip the balance in their favor. Simply the full, grounded, completely yourself presence that produced the fall in the first place. That presence is doing more work than any strategy could. And it will continue doing that work quietly, without announcement, until the wall crumbles from its own unsustainability. Oh, because walls built against real things do not hold forever. They hold for as long as the builder can sustain the building. And this builder, this person who fell despite themselves and has been struggling to stay away ever since, is approaching the limit of what they can sustain. The limit is close. Closer than the maintained distance suggests. And what comes after the limit, what happens when the wall finally, quietly, exhaustedly comes down, may be the most honest thing that has passed between you yet. Stay open for it, without urgency, without the anxious monitoring of a situation that is already moving in the right direction at the pace it needs to move. With the calm, rooted, completely yourself openness of someone who knows not from hope, but from the specific and grounded recognition that Spirit has confirmed today that what is real between you has not been lost in the struggle. It has simply been waiting on the other side of a wall that was never going to hold forever. And the waiting is almost over. If this reading found you today, if something here finally gave language to what you have been feeling without being able to name, stay close. Subscribe and come back. Because what is resolving in this connection deserves to be witnessed all the way through to its most honest and most complete expression. And the next reading will be there for every step of the wall coming down. Take care, Virgo.